Okay, so I don't know whether it's exactly 5 minutes, or it was exactly a 5 minutes break. Nevertheless, as we have a full program over the whole day, and there has been a cut to my usual speaking time, I will start and take every minute I can get. Okay, a warm welcome from my side. Happy to see you. And the date is a little bit unusual, and especially for us in Germany, as yesterday there was a national holiday. Nevertheless, thanks for coming, for joining. So, and I will lead you to an update of Summer 25, and then kick off winter, the first impressions of the first color shades, and the general feeling. So our forecast for 25 was created by very much enforced and supported by the word man-made. We discussed a lot about whether we should call it human-made, but looking at the general situation in the world, definitely it's man-made, what we are seeing over the whole history of humankind. Yeah. So I beg your pardon for man-made, but man-made. We are builders, we are makers by nature. It's innate. We want to do something, we want to form something, we want to shape things. This is what our early ancestors already did, and now we are here today. And so our intention, or what we see as we are struggling to be more sustainable, to protect our environments, it's in between the natural and the man-made, the human-made, the constructed things. And this is also reflected in our color choices. And I think if we look around, this is really true. We see lots of earthy tones, sandy shades. It's just part of us, these really familiar and mostly cozy colors. On the other hand, we see the really bright and inspiring, enthusiastic colors of the digital life, of the screens, and the colors which really vibrate from light within. So this is the gap, these are the two magnetic fields we have. And as said, we are makers and builders. And when we started discussing about the season in February this year, we said, everybody is wondering, hey, what's going on and why are we here? And it's really why can't we do anything against? And it's all so bad out there, the weather, the fire, the war, whatever. It's man-made or human-made. It's us, we have done it. And now it's our challenge to really take care of the planet and of our life and our lives and of our environment, which enables us to live here. So therefore, we feel really the strong need to create an atmosphere, color atmosphere, which is also reflecting on a more positive mood, seeing what we have achieved so far as humankind, and say, okay, we have the latest technology, we have cutting-edge technology, we can do something, but do we have really the will to do it? This is the question. Or as one student at my booth who was with me in November last year, at the end of the show, I usually get, like every other exhibitor, the questionnaire. And last question, if you could change anything about performance days, what would you want to change? And as I'm here for many years, I said to my student, what would you change? You are here for the first time. And he said, the mindset of the visitors. So that was a good question. So, and I think this is exactly what we have to do. So let's jump in. Immersive. Immersive worlds are not only the digital universes. It's also everyday life. I immerse here on stage, and I'm seeing you. I really feel connected to the audience. I'm really plunging in and really taking my share of immersion. So it's not only this. So we have here, we go all outside. We like to be outside with this splendid, nevertheless too hot summer, and we enjoyed being outdoors. And of course, we enjoy the other way of living too. And this is reflected in our color selection. As many of you may know, who already know the principles of performance colors by Nora Kühner, we define 6 or 7 color stories. Each color story is set up of about 6 to 8 shades. But we have at the core of each story the colors which set the tone. And so keeping it real is a warm, earthy story about the planet's colors, sky blue, green grass, and fiery red. When Nuova Terra is a little bit more smooth, a really super outdoor topic for outdoor gear, everything also connected to well-being because it feels very familiar. Sweeping lights is something I see already a lot of. These tones, these red tones combined together with some lilac, and then a very clean and pure story about hands-on, what we do, what we construct, what we take care of, and the story of becoming and being, which will also continue for winter 25-26, where we will see also very soft shades, a very cool and distinct feeling, and then open mind, open soul, everything is possible. We know that we can do nearly everything. So also color-wise, of course, we can do what we want, but we have to have a story, we have to tell something, and to give people the feeling, this is exactly what I want now. And it's not only about offering pink to pay tribute to Barbiecore. So, here, as said before, we are standing, looking at the world, and this is a picture my colleague Felicia of Taricone from Italy took in her summer vacation. She was in Rhodes, on the island of Rhodes, and this is a bed, or the leftovers of a bed, the structure after the terrible wildfires going on there. So, and it's really, she told us, it's really a different thing. If you are really so close and in your vacation where you want everything but bad things to happen, and you have this feeling yet you are really endangered, that is something really frightening. So we see here a very smooth and kind side of this topic, and on the other side what we constructed, what is strict, what is rigid, with all the grids we have, and we have to keep it real. We have to solve the problems in real life. And this is one question I'm always asking the guys who tell me digitalization is a super thing and will solve everything and is the remedy for everything. No, it's not. Who out of these guys, again, the man, who has solved any of the world's problems? Hunger, cancer, nothing. And just yesterday I read an article about the number of apps which is coming to the world, brought to public every week. Hey, it's not about a lot of things help, a lot of apps, thousands, 10,000s, tens of thousands help. It's what we do to take real action in real life. And so it's nice to put up a screen and say, hey, this is super. Yeah, but if we don't have this in the end any longer as a living base, don't give a dime for the screen, yeah, just to be that open. And I think this is something which should, especially us in our industry, in sports especially, reunite. We are living, our living base or business base is outdoor. Is our great outdoors, so let's keep them great. As said, a very earthy and in a warm and cozy color feeling. We got a lot of response from countries outside Europe to this color story. But on the other hand side, I must say I also like this warm, intense coloring, which is really, these are the vibes of human life. And once again here, so of course it's a story always like our everyday life. It's a story of contrasts, of metallic, of rotten things, thrown away, waste stuff. It's all this, and we have to tackle these problems, and we have to live with that. Nevertheless, there's no reason to be pessimistic. So this is what we want to show. These are possibilities. We have a lot of things we can do, but we have to have the trust that we together we can make it. I think this is the most important thing. So we want these colors also to inspire people, also when wearing, that you feel safe, that you have a cozy atmosphere around yourself. Nuova Terra, that was the wish of the Italian colleagues in the team, in the trend team, that we call this. It's about a new world we are creating. And on the other hand, which nature is creating, as nature now reacts, the planet reacts to what we have been doing for centuries, especially since the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century. So now the Earth reacts and forms and shapes anew some of the places we really believed to know well. And on the other hand side, it's about adaptation. This story is really, we have to learn to live with that. We have to learn to prevent things. And we have to make it in a spirit which is also kind of playful experimentation. This is something I'm talking about for years now. I really think that we as the creative ones and the developers in this, we are not given enough space and time especially, and maybe also money in that way, to experiment, to find new solutions. As you have heard, there is a lot of things going on in the evolution of fabrics, and we have really stunning things coming to our tables. But if we cannot figure out how we can make the best out of it, if we don't have the time to experiment, and even may think about maybe doing less, because we are doing great stuff. So please, more creative splendor in what we are doing. Yeah, it's worth. And it's really a colorful, warm, sunny, optimistic feeling in this story. And again, here also we got a very good feedback from well-being sports, from yoga, every kind of playful movements, and also for swimwear. Like here, super interesting things going on with these, all these research, scientific research. So we see a lot of motifs taken from science, but from nature, which we want to replicate, which we want to mimic. So new structures, really getting away from the old traditional forms also of motifs, but shaping new things and seeing the beauty in it. And I love especially this picture over there. So it's a sign in German that you find yourself in a landscape which is protected, and you see the force of nature, which is really over years can give a new frame to this sign. Okay, and this is what I mean. Without talking about that, my colleague Gabi Altrock from Germany, she came up with this interpretation delivered by her for showing how we can combine, how we can also find new motifs, new print ideas, and just this playfulness. I think this is really excellent work, and I loved this at first glance when she sent it to me. So sweeping lights, as said, a lot of these coloring is already to be seen. Very powerful, very just taking you away and making its way on the other hand side. like also these fires, the pictures of fires we have been seeing over the summer. Yeah, it's a kind of reflection, this movement, that everything is swirling around, and there's a lot of energy, and energy is making its way. And you see here the three really dominating colors, the core colors, with fiery red, with lilac, and purple. And then to soften the whole story a little bit, to provide transparency, to provide the feeling of lightfulness and of moving shadows and this overlayering. So this is a very intense story, and it's a very dynamic also in the graphics, with a lot of expression and really no holding back things, but really getting deeply into something. Really immerse yourself and really stand out from the crowd and doing whatever you want. Nevertheless, this story is also about this ethereal feeling. In the next second, it can change completely. And so the prints are also not clearly to recognize what it is, maybe, but it will change. Nevertheless, it's not in this. So we want to reflect also a little bit what is possible on screen with all the moving pictures and blurriness. And on the other hand side, my colleague again from Italy, Felicia, she did these color interpretations about how to bring together blurriness and rather precise designs and motives, and also to say here, this is it's a world of night and fantasy, and this is the morning after. Yeah, taking a breath, getting it back to normal, and really take and relax and find your freedom in more softer tones. So again, here also for well-being sports, a more female-oriented story. These are the color interpretations. And then here, hands-on. As said, the problem is us. Yeah, we do too much. If we could restrict ourselves a little bit, if everybody would do and restrict a little bit, it would be better, a bit better for the planet, and we wouldn't fill up the story. So we try to tame everything. Like here, this is the structure of a tree which we want to grow in a certain way. And so we really try to dominate nature. Now we wonder why nature doesn't accept our dominance and reacts. And this is, but it's hard for us to stop. And like this thing here also, we take landscape, we cover soils, we seal the soil. Of course, there's a lot of talking about regenerative agriculture right now, and this is most important topic. It's really also about soil. The ground is nothing which will be back. If once you take it away, once it is eroded, or it is spoiled, then it's away. You cannot use it. And we need soil for feeding the planet, for feeding planet and humans and animals. So here, a very clear story, soft, no sharp contrasts. It's just about a kind of smooth feeling and bringing things together in with a careful mindset and thinking before making. I think something which we also need in design, in our development flow, that we think before we design. Especially now with all this background you have just heard about the fabrics. We cannot just say, okay, I have an idea and sketch it out. You really have to think which fabrics, will be the end of the life cycle for this garment I'm trying to design or I want to design. Things like that. So it's really more about trying to anticipate or to create, imagine a new way of designing and developing products. So here just some impressions for the contrast. Again, like said before, contrasts are our lives. We have in everyday life all the contrasts, the strict grids, the rigid walls, and then on the other side, the smoothness of nature in many ways, and the light, the beautiful light, and the really blurring structures, whereas here, the strict, precise, functional thing. So these are the poles in between we act and where we live and where we create. Becoming being. Yeah, we had our becoming. Humankind developed, had its evolution, and now we have to think about, now we are in a situation where we are not only driven by nature, but we can reflect and see our tools, watch our tools, and really think about what we have to do. And this is the question of how do we want to live. I just read a book of James Bridle about there are different ways of being, where it's much more than just the one we are currently practicing. So really, we have to think about this. So the colors are strict and very clear, really reflecting nature in a very beautiful way. This ochre is also possible. We see it also as some kind of vintage gold, aged gold, just to bring in some natural splendor. We see metallic finishes in this story for the fabrics, and on the other hand side, the really rough. So you have here the fingerprinted nature, and always our leftovers are visible. So again, this is a picture my colleague took. One of my colleagues took with this old wheel in there. So we have left nearly everywhere our traces. There's the wonderful, nearly untouched nature we always use for advertising our garments is not really existing any longer, or it's hard to find. So this is something we have to tackle with, and therefore a kind of distinct, cool coloring with a warm undertone with this ochre and the light rose as an accent color. And so just here some impressions for structures. We have this cozy bubbling thing, but also the rough and broken stones. And then here, last story, open mind, open soul. Nothing is off limits. It's really, once again, really to designers and developers. There is much more in us than replicating thousands and thousands of the same styles. The stuff which is filling the planet, we can do better. I know, and we know, but we have to force through people, so let's stand up. And it's very loud, eye-catching, and we did it before Barbie, and we had this feeling we need something like that, with sense of wonder and joy. Yeah, that you really can take joy in the everyday, that it's nice to see, and coloring and beautiful colors. And this is why I always have to underline color matters, because it can bring a smile to your face. It can, when you look in the mirror and you have, for example, when I take up this scarf, it's always like everybody in a remote session, in a video session, saying, "Oh, you look splendid today." Yeah? But it's just the coloring. I look the same as if I would only wear black, which I do a lot. So, yeah, expanding borders, crossing boundaries, breaking new grounds. And it really could happen. Yeah? It really could happen. It's just about us. We're human-made. And that was the echo from some Finnish ladies when I presented this lately. And they said, yeah, let's come from man-made to human-made. Yeah? So I said, yes, exactly, that's what we have to strive for. So our next story or our next keyword is leading edge. As mentioned before, we have so great technology. We have so much hard skills. We have all the knowledge which we share, the tools. There is no need for new tools, in fact. The tool which we have to tune in a little bit better is our brain, our mind, our feeling. And that we are not angry, not furious at nature. It's not nature, it's the reaction of nature to what we have been doing. So it's us to protect this nature with all what we have, and we have a lot. So it's just moving in. And when we met just 3 weeks ago, and this is something my colleague Felicia again, that I liked it very much, all these fragments of our everyday lives, of the things which matter, and which this slide really shows that we feel very often overloaded, and it's just too much to tackle. And on the other hand side, it shows clearly that color can help, because you get think pink, attitude dream. Yeah. Of course, we were discussing Barbies or pink. Some of things brought to the table were really hardcore Barbie. But I also like the sentence, the future is yesterday. Yeah. When did this happen? That we no longer see future as something we want to go for. Just future, old-fashioned, retro. But how we call the next days, the next years, the next decades, what is that? If we don't trust in our power. And therefore, I like the picture by colleague Mirella. Her granddaughter visited a museum, prison as a museum. And I think this is exactly what especially a lot of young people feel. I want to break out, and they want to break out, and they want to break our persistence. And we have to really believe them and to prepare them. So break the vicious circles. You remember in New York this summer, by end of June, early July, the smoke from Canadian wildfires covered New York. And on the other side, you see perfect match of a sunset at the North Sea in late August. So we have to decide, do we want this or do we want this? And I can tell you, I experienced something like that last year when the sky suddenly, or not suddenly, but within 2 hours, went completely yellow. And you think, hey, what's going on? Is this doomsday or what is happening? But it was only Sahara sand brought all the miles from Sahara to Austrian mountains and covered the snow when I was skiing there in March 22. So a lot of things going on, and we have to break it. And therefore, you see a lot of red tones, dominating reds in any shade. And then we see this. So, as said, remember, we are makers and builders. We want to make. Whether we do it this way or we do it this way, it's us. And we have to really channel this. And one thing show this. This is modern architecture performed in New York for the American Museum of Natural History. I can only recommend a visit. It's really for the first time for a long time that I really admire a building, especially the inner the inside. You feel embraced by technology. You can see that technology can also be human-friendly and not just investor-friendly, yeah, and capitalistic-friendly. So it's us. And get away from hyper-perfection. And one thing I'm tackling right now a lot, the topic of digitalization in all forms. And Copy is the first AI fashion magazine. This means it's only done by feeding the chatbot. And so you look through the magazine and you always have the feeling, hey, I have seen this before. Not exactly the picture, but of course it's fed by what is there, so it can only reproduce. And this was a wording, do we really want to say goodbye to wrinkles, emotions, and individuality? This is a really good question. Do we want to perfect ourselves to have avatars or cyborgs? So we are still in the making, but here's one first color story we love very much, and we all agreed on that. A very strong story based on black and white, and then with cool, sober tones, providing also natural experience, but with a kind of hidden grids behind. And so this will be one of our stories for the next season, for winter 25-26, a very strong one. And here's another one. We love very much watercolors at the moment. As mentioned before, we love, with all this technical perfection, the smooth and with smooth screens, the clean things, we love this. And I found this sentence when I was doing some research about an exhibition. And I'm fascinated as a creative woman. I'm really excited about the sentence, you have no chance to correct this. So we have to learn again that imperfection is good. It's nothing evil. It's nothing ugly. Imperfection can be truly surprising. Bring your emotions up whenever positive or negative. So this is the next color story, which is already from the spirit here, done one for us. Reddish energy, but also in a kind of a relaxed feeling. So we see this also as a good topic for ski gear, for outdoor gear, colors which are really nice in context with nature. And then the last one, what we already have ready, we think we will have again 6 different stories, but here we are ready only with 3. And Vibes of Tomorrow. Again, very intense colors, also inspired, of course, by screen representation of colors. And it, like I mentioned before, that we got for some color stories of summer, we got a perfect feedback from countries apart from Europe. So it's about the hyperlocal and the universal. I think we have much to do in really getting together across in seeing what is going on in our world. And this is also helpful for us to think in new ways, to see new opportunities, new ways of doing things. So, yeah, this is the status where we are at the moment. As you know, as a tool, we have always the numbers. So if I speak of summer 25, which is ready, the e-magazine is available as download at Performance Day's website, cost-free. And you have always the color and light fastness indications, whether there might be problems with the color, and you have the different coats, Dystar, Achroma, both cotton and polyester, Coloro and Pantone. And this is the schedule. The first presentation of a complete early color information will be in Portland. And then by November 15, the file will be ready for you to download at Performance Day's websites with all the numbers, all the codes, the story backgrounds, the first idea of what the graphics are on and how to combine colors. Yeah, so that was a quick run through. And I hope you liked the presentation. I'm here all days, so until tomorrow at 6. You can catch me up, come to my booth, which is over in the other hall. And thanks a lot for listening. It was a pleasure to see you all, and thanks.
Can I ask us all to show appreciation for Nora? Now, we haven't talked much about Nora's background. Nora is someone that you ask well, I do, a relatively simple question, and I get so much depth of information back. She does not make rational decisions based on whims. She makes rational decisions based on evidence, and I am always learning. And I like to shortcut. I like to try and justify what I'm feeling. Nora's the opposite. She's got possibly 20 touch points. She collects information from all 20 touch points and then moderates it to get the best core result. That and a little bit of Nora magic that she puts in to go forward. Nora has a stand almost this level back in Hall A6. Go and chat to her. She's around. You'll notice her. She's just on the central aisle.
Yes, close to a Trent Forum, where a designer has to belong to. And one thing I wish to add, as I have now made it really in a fast way, I think you as my audience, and I know a lot of you for many years, and I really appreciate that you are such loyal followers. I don't have a lot of followers maybe on the internet, but I have physical beings in my presentations, which is something I love and which really thrives me to deliver the best what I can deliver, what I can find out. And this is always, I really love the job as a designer. I love this industry. I love the designers, developers, and we all together really share a spirit which is very precious to me. So thanks a lot once again.
Thank you, Nora.